Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down on the opening line at EliteSportsBetting.com. I'll be your host, Benny Ricciardi, and as always on Fridays, we're going to be talking a little bit of soccer action today. So whenever we're talking soccer, I bring in my man, our soccer expert over at Elite Fantasy and Elite Wins and, everywhere else over here. The guy who makes me money betting soccer, my man, Duke. What's going on this morning, buddy?
Another day in paradise, Benny, like we say every single Friday. I love doing the show on Fridays. It's a kickoff to the weekend. Obviously, ton of EPL action starting today, actually. But we've had a fun week of Champions League, Europa League. It's the soccer roll, baby. It never sleeps.
Yeah, and that's been great. I mean, listen, we all play like basketball or baseball or whatever at night, but you know what? During the day when we're doing content, I mean, I know I always have my TV on in the background with whatever sporting events are going on. So I've been watching a lot of soccer throughout the week, and it's nice to have a little something to gamble on, a little bit of money on the line in the afternoon. And you always know when it's going to be a good day because when you have a good day in soccer, you're basically free rolling your daily fantasy at night. So whenever I have a good soccer day, I'm always pretty happy because no matter what happens at night in fantasy, I'm playing with house money anyway. So we do have a game to talk about today. There is one game in the Premier League today, Norwich and Leicester, right?
Yeah, Norwich is hosting Leicester. Kind of a weird weekend. If any fantasy Premier League fans are out there, make sure you check your lineups because not everybody plays this weekend. Mm-hmm. We'll kick it off today. Norwich plus 370 at home, Leicester minus 135. And look, the lay person or, even just the educated person is going to look at this and say, well, let's hammer Leicester. That makes sense, right? Sitting third in the table, Norwich getting relegated for sure. I get it. And we're probably going to do that. It's probably where we're going to end up. But exercise a touch of caution here because they drew 1-1 in their return leg, which was at the King Power Stadium at Leicester. Mm-hmm. That was coming off an 8-game win streak for Leicester and the start of a 3-game skid. Leicester can be a little bit of a streaky team. And there's a big piece of injury news we're waiting to see. Wilf Ndidi has been out. He's this tall center midfielder, leads the Prem and interceptions, is a big piece of their attack. Let's see if he makes the first 11. Paulus Mendy is out as well. Ndidi's like probable, questionable in between those two lines. If he does, we can definitely hammer Leicester. But even at minus 135, which has come down 5 cents here since last night, I'm fine grabbing it for them to win. And I actually really like Jamie Vardy to score. You think about how he plays and how Leicester play. He picked up an assist the last time they played, but Norwich are a team that likes possession, right? They're not the relegated team who's playing hoofball and just hoping to keep it 0-0. They want to have the ball, especially at home. So once they have the ball, they push forward. If they push forward, what's in behind, Benny? Jamie Vardy. Yeah. So I don't even mind him to score a brace if you can get some really good odds on that. The first time they played, he got 5 shots off, 2 on target, just wasn't able to grab one. So that's a long way of saying Leicester's going to win today.
Yeah, so that's actually what I was looking up while you were talking here. So we got him at plus 330 to get the first goal in this game. And then I'm trying to find them right now what it would be to score a goal. I'm guessing probably minus, right? Minus 104. So basically even money for him to score a goal. Let's see if I can find them for 2 goals as well while we're here. For multiple goals, plus 550 to score multiple goals here. So that's some interesting stuff right there. I do like – let me see what it would be. Good. Well,
I was going to say, while you're looking that up, I will say our next bet is going to be a long shot, a smaller unit long shot. So if you want to play a couple long shots, today and early morning tomorrow, you can certainly do that. We'll give you those here. But just Jamie Vardy to score at basically even money is something I'll take, every weekend in a situation exactly like this.
And you could even parlay that. So what I was looking here to see is what we get paid if we parlay that with Leicester winning the game. About 165 plus 170, somewhere around there, depending on where you are. And obviously, shop around on these lines, guys, because the lines, especially for soccer, I feel are very different across different sites. The other day, I had you had the Cristiano Ronaldo to score, which he didn't wind up scoring, but I think you had it at like minus 120 in the bet pack. And I forget if it was FanDuel or DraftKings. One of them had it at minus 120. The other one had it at like almost even money. It was like minus 105 or I think it might have even been at even money. So definitely shop around for these lines because if you're going to make the bet anyway, you might as well get the place where it's going to pay you the best for it. And believe me, the lines are very different in a lot of the soccer stuff depending on what site you're looking at here. So definitely make sure you shop around on it.
Yeah, one of the things I do for every game that I'm ever handicapping, Benny, is go over to a couple different websites, but VegasInsider.com just to see where it opened, to see where it is on a couple books out in the desert there. And if you, I mean, there was one game in particular, I'm not going to be able to find it now, obviously, that we're on the air, but it opened at, let's say, plus 150 and, plus 200 or something like that. The line had moved to, minus 105, but William Hill still had it at plus 140. That's a big gap. I mean, so if you're not shopping around, you're losing a ton of value, which if you do that 60 times a season, it's going to be almost impossible for you to be a profitable gambler. So it's as big a piece of your process as, picking the right team, right?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of build on what you're saying there, like Leeds, is that today, that game, the Leeds United game?
In the championship? Should
Saturday.
be.
So yeah, tomorrow, Leeds, they opened at 134. Right now, at the moment, you can get that the consensus on it now is up to minus 180. The Westgate has it at minus 240. MGM has it at minus 180. Circa has it at minus 270. There's a big difference between those three numbers. I mean, you're talking, basically giving up 80, 90 cents of value depending on where you're betting just by, shopping around and finding the best number on that. To put that in terms that people can kind of understand, you're betting $3 to win $1 in one spot and you're betting $2 to win $1 in another spot. So if you're putting a $100 bet on one site, you're going to win $33 back or so. You put it on the other side, you're going to win $50 back. If you put that as part of a parlay with something else that's even money, on one site, you're going to get back, I don't know, probably like plus 120, plus 130. On the other side, you're getting back plus 170, plus 180. So again, you bet $100, would you rather win 120 or 170? You're making the same exact bet on both sites. It's just one of them's paying you out better. So definitely make sure you shop around for these lines because we're seeing them very different on different books. And like you mentioned, some books are moving fast. Other books are kind of being a little bit slower to take them off. And it really has to do a lot with what kind of action they're taking. And, when you have a book that's not taking a ton of soccer action in America right now, sometimes they don't have to move the line because they have an even amount of money on the other side at a certain spot. And, another book might be somewhere where a bunch of whales started banging one of those numbers and they had to move it a lot in the other direction to kind of, hedge themselves. So this happens quite often. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knows, like, shopping around is the way to go because, again, if you're going to make the bet anyway, make it in the spot where you're going to get the most money back because that makes the most sense to me.
I mean, it's the difference between, having to hit 57% and 65%, which is going to be almost impossible.
Yeah, which is the difference between possible but tough and impossible, So that's how important it is for you to get the best number when you're going out there. And, we talk all the time where it's not about betting the teams and being right on the teams. It's about finding the value. There's sometimes where I'll bet on a team that I think is less than a 50% chance to win. But if you're paying me, 3-1 or 4-1 to do it, it still might be the better play than taking a favorite at, minus 400 or something like that, where I'm getting back 25 cents on the dollar. So let's move on to Saturday morning here. We have a game on Saturday morning, Crystal Palace and Brighton. What are we looking at there for the overnight play?
It's a tradition unlike anything else in sports, Benny. The Saturday morning 7:30 game. You and I have to talk about it, and this is gross. This is gross. I've had lamb brains on a live stream this week, and this is the grossest thing I'm going to talk about. Look, it's
not kidding. That was not a euphemism either, folks.
No, go look it up. Lunch money over on EliteSportsBetting.com. I lost a bet. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. I don't want to talk about it, but Brighton plus 105 at home hosting Crystal Palace plus 290. The total, Benny, is a 2 with minus 140 juice on the over. And it's low for a reason. Both these teams struggle to score. They can't find the back of the net. Palace have 2 goals in their last 4 games. They have scored in each of their last 4 away matches, which is interesting. Brighton, have played in 5 straight games where both teams have scored. So I can see a similar outcome here, like a 1-1 draw. We're always trying to figure out game flow, potential results when we're finding these bets. A 1-1 draw is about how I had this game handicapped. That's kind of how Vegas sees it as well. So not a ton of value here on the line. So let's get a little bit creative. Brighton have had to come from behind in 4 straight matches. Now, granted, one of those was at home, 3 were away. So it's not exactly apples to apples face value, but let's dig a little deeper. You have to go back to December 16th to find a game where there wasn't a goal in the first half. Okay. So it's a low total, but the halftime line, I believe, or total is 1. That's 10 matches in a row where there's been a goal in the first half. At least a goal, I should say. Now, look, I'm willing to take a stab here on Crystal Palace scoring that goal in the first half and having the lead at halftime. So Palace minus a half a goal in the first half. In the first half, people. is sitting at plus 315. So if you throw a half a unit on it, you're winning 1.58 units here in a game where pretty ugly. We don't really want to attack a side or a game total, so we can get a little creative and grab something there in the first half.
So let me put you on the spot here then while I'm looking
Please.
this up. So if we think Crystal is probably more likely to score the first goal, anybody on that team that you're looking at to be that goal scorer?
Benny, you and I, baby. You and I do this. Christian Benteke is plus 700 to score, and I don't mind a dabble in that. Now, look, I believe Cenk Tosun is back healthy, so Benteke is not a guarantee to start, but as always, make sure your book will give you your money back if the player does not start.
Mm-hmm.
If he does, he's been in decent form. He's shown he can score at this level and does have a goal, at least one goal, in his last 3 games or so. So in a situation where, Brighton has 3 center backs over 6'3", you're probably going to want the big man up there in Benteke to get in, and the boy can leap off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So any balls in the box, set pieces, open play, Andros Townsend, Wilf Zaha, someone getting the ball in there at plus 700 for him maybe to grab a goal. Go nuts. Now, look, no, don't go nuts.
I was going to say, but you could throw a little something on it and still get a big return when you're getting 7-1. That's why I always like to ask that question because, if you're trying to make a little bit of a score, if you just got $20 you're throwing in there to have, some fun. I mean, hey, throwing in $20 at minus 110 and winning 18 is cool. But if I'm throwing $20 in and have something to watch, I want a chance to, at least win enough money where I can take the wife out to a nice dinner or, something like that. Get a nice bottle of liquor to enjoy the evening if it hits. So that's the way.
Imagine toasting, a nice bottle of Cab or something like that, and say to Christian Benteke.
There you go. And you're still, and even if you get a nice bottle, you still got probably another $50 to hang out in your pocket to, bet on something else later on in the day.
Fuck, so, that coffee was hot. Woo!
We got a couple games at noon too, so we could take some of that extra money that we didn't spend on the bottle and put it on some of these games. Anything you're looking at for the games later on in the day on Saturday?
Yeah, so the main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel is there's 3 10 a.m. games. Mm. Don't love anything in there. Let's go right to the 12:30 game. Okay. Watford hosting Liverpool. And I want to talk about this game specifically because I think people are going to do kind of similar to the Leicester game a little bit where it's like, it's Liverpool. It's Watford. They're going to blow them out. Mm. Watford's pretty tough at home, man. And they are hosting this game. Rightfully, the line is big, though. Watford plus 650 now. Liverpool minus 240. 3 total, 110 on the over, minus 130 on the under. Nigel Pearson, he'll be praying for a 0-0 draw here, but we know Liverpool away are a little bit more conservative. Jurgen Klopp more interested in keeping the 0 and just grabbing a goal and getting the win and the 3 points and moving on with all the competitions they're still playing in than trying to blow a team out. So I think the inclination here is to say Liverpool -1 is minus 150. Why wouldn't I take that? Don't disagree. I think Liverpool's going to win the game, but I don't like laying minus 150 juice on anything. Mm-hmm. So in situations like this, I don't touch the 3-way total. I look towards the first half in exotics. Okay. An exotic I'm looking at here is for the second half to be the highest scoring half. That was minus 110. I think Liverpool are okay getting to half 0-0 and then pushing on late. Obviously, once Liverpool get a goal, Watford will be chasing. Goal differential will be big, so I don't expect them to just leave it empty at the back and go try to find a tying goal there. But second half, if Watford grabs a goal, likely to be the second half as they're chasing. If Watford does grab a goal, it's probably because Liverpool already scored, and then Liverpool's going to want that 3 points. Draw doesn't do them a whole hell of a lot. I like the second half, highest scoring half, minus 110.
Yeah, I could get behind that, and especially at the minus 110 because, I mean, this is a game where you're trying to find – like, let's face it, there's a good chance Liverpool wins this game. Like, a very, very good chance that Liverpool wins this game. But you want to try to find some value because what are they on the line? They're like minus 300?
Minus 240. And look, we don't need Watford to score. It could be 0-0 at half, and Liverpool scores 4 second-half goals. Who cares, right?
Or even just one, and they win 1-0, like you said.
True, yeah.
Just, trying to keep it 0-0 and, get a goal and walk out of there with the 3 points. That's really all they need to do is get one goal in the second half. And, hey, if you have any doubt about them being able to score, what they did midweek in the second half of that game after going down 2-1, I hopped on them. It was like minus 800, I think, at the start. Mm-hmm. It got down to minus 350, 0-0 at the or 1-1 at the half, and that's when I hopped on them. They gave up a quick goal, and I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me that I'm going to lose this bet right now." And then they stormed back in Liverpool fashion, and all their class kind of shone through, and they wound up picking up 2 goals and winning the game 3-2 and moving on. That's the kind of team they are. I mean, they are just very, very good right now, and they really are much better and, should win this game easily. But again, we're trying to find some value. We don't want to, we don't want to bet $100 and win 10. That's not the point here.
Yeah, I can sit here and pick out minus 300 winners all day if you'd like me to, and parlay some of those together. And we do some of that sometimes in the bet pack, but on this show, we want to give you some value. And so that's what we're leaning right now. And look, you said it, Liverpool, I hate it. It hurts me in my gut. Liverpool seem like a team of destiny right now. From start to finish, every single player is on fire. Now, one huge piece of information that I didn't put in my notes for some reason, Jordan Henderson is out again, club captain. He's actually up in the running for player in the year in the Premier League, believe it or not. Doesn't necessarily do it with a bunch of stats, goals, assists, but connecting front to back, showing that leadership, getting stuck in, picking up possession, finding the talent up front. He's a big piece of that. Didn't look great midweek, like you saw, Benny, without Jordan Henderson. So just another reason why I think, Watford maybe hangs around this for just a bit. But regardless, let's just get those second half goals and take our win.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, to win soccer games, you got to score goals, and Liverpool got a lot of guys up front that could put some goals in there. I mean, they even had one called back on a video review, I think, as well, so they could have had 4 goals in that situation. So, like I said, it's not easy, but that is the way it goes. Anything else you want to add here before we sign off?
No, man. It's always a fun time hanging out with you on Fridays. I got my articles out for DFS over on EliteFantasy.com. I also just put out a MLS preview podcast with the Atlanta United color commentator, Jason Longshore. We did 60 minutes on Atlanta United some, but then just a general preview of MLS. And he also gives his best chance at the Golden Boot winner, the player who's going to score the most goals. So if you want to get a free bet, go check that out as well. It's over on iTunes. Just look up Elite Fantasy and then hit the search bar in the store. Should pop up.
Yeah, so, for those of you who don't know, we did start a little bit of a podcast network. So I know Duke has one, Mad Lab has one that's coming out later called The War Lab, where, not completely MMA breakdown, just, Mad Lab being Mad Lab and, and kind of doing his thing. And for those of you who don't know him pretty well, pretty entertaining guy overall over there. So, you can get over to EliteSportsBetting.com. We got the betting package up there right now. EliteFantasy.com. You can get all the stuff that Duke's talking about here with soccer. Also, our MLB package is starting to open up as well. So, for those of you who play daily, you can get that at EliteFantasy.com. For those of you who play season long, the guys over at FantasyGuru.com, Mans, Flowers, Vlad Sedler, those guys are doing some amazing work right now to get us ready for season-long baseball. So any of you that play NFBC leagues, or if you have your own, season-long fantasy baseball leagues that you get in with your friends and you want to just kind of show off and dominate and win a bunch of money this year, we got a little something for everybody all around here. So for Duke, this is Benny signing off for another episode of The Opening Line at EliteSportsBetting.com.